White just played. Pawn b6. Pause the video to find out black's response. White's idea is to play pawn b7, pawn g5. Pawn promotes to queen at b8 and dominate the board. King c6 move preferred by black. Black is aiming to play king takes b6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King c4 was chosen by white. On a4, king c3, king takes b6, king d3, king c6, king c3, on f6, king d3, on a3. Black's idea is to play on a2, on d7. King takes d7 and seizes the initiative. King c2 was chosen by white. On takes e5. On takes e5. On g5. Black's idea is to play on h4. On g4. On h3 and gain a significant edge. King d3 move preferred by white. On a2. King e4. Pawn promotes to queen at a1. Black wants to play queen b1 check. King e3. Queen e1 check. King d3. Queen takes e5 and gain a significant edge. On d7 white is on the verge of defeat. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. On b3 pause the video and try to find white's next move. Black intends to play pawn c3 check. King c1. Pawn b2 check. King b1. Pawn f5. Pawn g3. Pawn takes e4. Pawn f4. King e3 and establish a winning position. Pawn takes b3 was chosen by white. Pawn takes b3. On g4. White might go for pawn takes h5 and seize the initiative. Pawn takes g4 move preferred by black. Pawn takes g4. On f5. Black might go for pawn takes e4 and put immense pressure on the opponent. Pawn takes f5 played by white. On e5. On f6. On e4. On f7. On e3 check. King e2. On b2. Pawn promotes to queen at f8. White considers playing queen g7 check. King e4. Queen takes b2 and gain a significant edge. Pawn promotes to queen at b1 move preferred by black. Queen d6 check. King c4. Queen e6 check. King d4. Queen takes e3 check. King c4 white has a decisive advantage. Let's go to the next game. White just played. On b4 pause the video and try to find black's next move. Pawn takes b4 check. King takes b4. King d4. On c5. White might go for pawn c6. King e3. On c7. On f4. Pawn takes f4. King takes f4. Pawn promotes to queen at c8. King g5. Queen e6 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King d5 played by black. King a5. White is looking to play king b6. King e4. Pawn c6. On f4. Pawn takes f4. King takes f4. On c7. On g3. Pawn takes g3 check and secure a stronghold in the game. King takes c5 was chosen by black. King takes a6. King d4. Black is looking to play king e3. King b5. King f3. King c4. King g2. King d4. King takes h2 and sees the initiative. King b6 move preferred by white. King e4. King c5. King f3. King d6. White intends to play. King e5. On f4. Pawn takes f4 and secure a stronghold in the game. King g2 move preferred by black. Black wants to play king takes h2 and establish a winning position. Pawn h4 move preferred by white. Pawn takes h3. King e6. King f2. Black is planning to play. King f3. King takes f5. King takes g3 and dominate the board. King takes f5 move preferred by white. King takes g3. King e4. Black has a strong upper hand. Let's go to the next game. White played. On h5. Pause the video to figure out black's next move. King f6. King f2. On g4. Pawn takes g4. King g5. Black intends to play king takes g4 and secure a stronghold in the game. King f3 played by white. White wants to play. Pawn g3. Pawn takes g3. King takes g3 and gain a significant edge. King h4 move preferred by black. On g5. White is looking to play pawn takes h6 and dominate the board. King takes g5 move preferred by black. On g4. Pawn takes g3. King takes g3. King takes h5. King f2. King g4. Black considers playing. King f4. King g2. Pawn h5. King h3. King takes e4 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King e3 move preferred by white. On h5. Black is planning to play. On h4. King f2. King f4 and dominate the board. King e2 move preferred by white. King f4. King f2. King takes e4. King g3. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. White played. King c3. Pause the video to find out black's response. On the 5. King b2. Pawn takes b4. King b3. King e4. King takes b4. King takes e3. King a4. King e4. King b4. On f4. Black is looking to play. On f3. King b5. On f2. King takes b6. Pawn promotes to queen at f1 and establish a winning position. Pawn takes f4 move preferred by white. On h4. King b5. On g3. Black intends to play pawn takes h2 and gain a significant edge. Pawn takes g3 was chosen by white. Pawn takes g3. King c6. On g2. King takes b6. Pawn promotes to queen at g1 check. King c6. White is struggling to keep up. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. King f3. Pause the video to find out black's response. On the 5. King e4. King g3. King e3. King takes g2. On h4. King g3. Black might go for king takes g4 and gain a significant edge. On g5 played by white. White is looking to play. Pawn takes f6. King g4. On f7. King f5. Pawn promotes to queen at f8 check and dominate the board. Pawn takes g5 played by black. Pawn takes g5. King h4. King e4. King takes g5. King takes e5. On h5. King d6. On h4. King c7. On h3. King takes b6. On h2. King takes c5. Pawn promotes to queen at h1. Black is planning to play queen b7. King d4. Queen takes b3. King c5. King f4. King d4. Queen takes a4 and gain a significant edge. On b4 black has a strong upper hand. Let's go to the next game. Black made a move. On a5 pause the video to find out white's response. On b5. King d6. King d4. King e6. On h4. On h5. King e4. King d6. King f5. King d5. King g5. King e5. King takes h5. King d5. King g4. King c5. On h5. King b4. On h6. King takes a4. On h7. King b3. Pawn promotes to queen at h8. White is looking to play queen d4. On a4. Queen takes b6. King c4. Queen c6 check. King d3. Queen a6 and secure a strong hold in the game. King b4 white is clearly ahead. Let's go to the next game. White made a move. King b3 pause the video to figure out black's next move. On b6. King c2. King a4. King c1. King b3. King b1. On a5. Black is preparing to play pawn takes b4. Pawn takes b4. King takes b4 and gain a significant edge. Pawn takes a5 was chosen by white. Pawn takes a5. King c1. On a4. King b1. On a3. Black is planning to play pawn takes b2. Pawn c4. Pawn takes c4. Pawn d5. Pawn c3. Pawn takes c6. Pawn c2 mate and dominate the board. Pawn takes a3 was chosen by white. King takes c3. King a1. King d3. On a4. King takes e3. On a5. King f2. On a6. On e3. On a7. On e2. Pawn promotes to queen at a8. Pawn promotes to queen at e1 check. King a2. Queen d2 check. King b1. Queen d1 check. King a2. Queen takes d4. Queen f8 check. Black is dominating the board. Let's go to the next game. White just played King c4. Pause the video to analyze black's next move. On f4. Pawn takes f4 check. Pawn takes f4. King d3. On f3. Black wants to play King f4. On g5. King takes g5. King e3. King g4 and put immense pressure on the opponent. King e3 move preferred by white. White's idea is to play king takes f3 and establish a winning position. Pawn f2 played by black. Black is preparing to play pawn promotes to queen at f1 and take decisive advantage. King takes f2 move preferred by white. King f4. King e2. King takes g4. King d3. King takes h5. King d4. King g5. King c4. On h5. Black considers playing on h4. King d4. On h3. King e5. On h2. King e6. Pawn promotes to queen at h1 and take decisive advantage. King d3 move preferred by white. King f4. King c4. King e4. King b5. King d5. King b6. On h4. Black is setting up to play. On h3. King b7. On h2. King c7. Pawn promotes to queen at h1. King b6. King d4 and gain a significant edge. King takes a5 was chosen by white. King c5. King a6. On h3. King b7. On h2. King c8. Pawn promotes to queen at h1. Black is aiming to play. Queen h7. King d8. King d6. On a5. Queen d7 mate and secure a strong hold in the game. King d7 white has no response. Let's go to the next game. White just played. On f7 pause the video to spot black's next move. White considers playing, pawn promotes to queen at f8 check, and establish a winning position. King e7 move preferred by black. King g5. White is looking to play. King g6. King f8. On h4. King e7. On h5, and establish a winning position. On a5 was chosen by black. King h6. White might go for. King g7. King d7. Pawn promotes to queen at f8, and gain a significant edge. King takes f7 move preferred by black. King h7. On b5. On g4. On b4. Black's idea is to play. On b3. King h6. On b2. King h5. On a4. King h4. On a3, and take decisive advantage. On g5 played by white. On b3. On g6 check. King e7. On g7. On b2. Pawn promotes to queen at g8. Pawn promotes to queen at b1 check. King h6. Queen c1 check. King h5. Queen d1 check. King h4. Queen e1 check. Queen g3. Queen takes g3 check. Pawn takes g3. King f6. King h5. On a4. King g4. On a3. King f4. On a2. King e4. Pawn promotes to queen at a1. King d3 black is in a commanding position. Let's go to the next game.